from the shores of beautiful Nassau, Bahamas. Welcome to Walking in Victory with Bishop Neil C. Ellis. The powerful and prophetic ministry of Bishop Neil C. Ellis is impacting the lives of believers all around the world. His bold and forthright presentation of spiritual truths and biblical principles is sure to change your life forever. Get ready to experience a fresh approach to ministry as this anointed author and pastor teaches us how to walk in victory.
Walking in victory.
Well, God bless you today. This is Neil Ellis, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Walking in Victory. You've heard the sermon B. Today, you're going to get portions of my sermon entitled, Now Be Confident. I believe it's going to be a blessing to you today, so be encouraged as we present this portion of the message to you. God bless you and God keep you. I'll see you at the end of the telecast. My beloved brothers and sisters, in this season of life, do not be moved by some of the things you see. And don't be moved by some of the things that you hear. Don't govern your lives simply by your circumstances. In the weeks and months ahead, don't allow diseasement and frustration to set in. Not only has God prepared you and set you in place for all that is to come, but there's a ram that's been caught and tied up in that place, waiting for your arrival. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to believe in the God that believes in you. I mean, for real. Last week I made it clear to you that I had come to light a fire on the inside of you that would make you burn with courage. Today I'm here to fan the flames of that fire, and in the process, build your level of confidence so that your ram can be revealed. Look at somebody real quickly and tell them, it's time to believe the God who believes in you. When it comes to confidence, it's not about how much confidence you have, but it's about in whom you place that confidence. Confidence is a Hebrew word, and it has two real meanings attached to the word. Con is the prefix meaning with. And in this word, fidens comes from the Hebrew word that means to have faith, to believe in. So confidence is living with faith. on Sunday next, you will hear me talking about the real insignificance of self-confidence. Because so often that's what is promoted from pulpits and elsewhere. But self-confidence alone is really only con. The fidence cannot be attached to the corn until you come to the place where you have unequivocal faith in God. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we were created to be creative. And creativity is flowing in our veins, isn't that right? And while we were born with creative juices in us, we were not born with courage. Courage has to be cultivated by doing difficult things and making tough decisions. However, confidence or lack thereof is a matter of choice. You have to choose to be confident. And you have the opportunity to choose in whom you place that confidence. Once you have confidence, according to the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, you've also got to make another choice. And that's whether you keep the confidence or throw it away. You are not born with confidence like you are born with creativity. You don't cultivate confidence like you must do with courage. It's just a matter of choice. You have to just simply decide whether I will live my life with confidence or whether I would just live my life with con. And when you find yourself living with confidence, then you become a person who can do all things. How? Through Christ in whom you placed your confidence. Because Christ is the one who gives you the strength to stand in the boxing ring and get all these TKOs. Now let's go to chapter 13 and let's start reading from verse 1.
Then Abram went up from Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him.
And Lot with him. Where did they go?
To the south.
Verse 2.
Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver and gold.
Verse 3.
And he went on his journey from the south as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there at first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord.
And verse 5.
Lot also
did what?
Who went with Abram.
He still, to this point, lacks the courage. He done been up and down. He's already been through a famine. And has not yet realized that he's going through all of this because somebody who God did not send is on the journey. Lord, have mercy. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's keep reading from verse 6.
Now the land was not able to support them, that they might dwell together, for their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together.
Now go to verse 7.
And there was strife.
There was strife.
there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock.
Now, so Lot is with Abram. God did not give him the instruction to take Lot. He's moving with Abram every step. That had been through a famine, Abram didn't get the lesson. So now strife arises. Not between Lot and Abram, but between their people. And sometimes, you know, you and another person could be all right. But your people and their people can't get along. Now, there was strife, and Abram had a problem. So in verse 8, Abram said to Lot what he said.
Please let there be no strife between you and me, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brethren.
Verse 9.
Is not the whole land before you? Please separate from me.
Ooh, he's getting the lesson. All right, Lot. This is as far as we go. Please separate from me. Go ahead.
If you take the left, then I will go to the right. Or if you go to the right, then I will take the left.
All right, verse 14. And the Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him. Look now. As long as he had somebody on the trip who God did not send, God got quiet. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we wonder why God ain't talking. You say, I'm faithful, I'm doing everything I know how to do, I'm loving him, I'm trying to treat my neighbors right, I'm a tither, I'm a giver, I try to live the best I can, but I can't hear from God. Sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you just have to pause and re-examine all of your connections. Sometimes you just have to pause and analyze all your relationships. They are either in season or out of season. These people are with you because you took them, or they just came along. Are you dealing with stuff in your life that you know you need to get rid of? Or are you still hanging around some people in your life that you know you need to cut, but you lack the courage and God has gone silent? In Genesis 22, we have one of the most recorded events in history. Because this event is repeated several times in the New Testament, even though it happened in the Old Testament. This event is probably the most referred to event in the New Testament of any events that took place in the Old Testament. Abraham was being asked to offer up his son for a burnt offering. And the sacrifice of Abram is a story without parallel in the Old Testament, because it was the first time that God had ever asked anybody to offer up human flesh. In today's message, I invite you to take a close look at Abraham's post-Isaac's behavior versus Abraham's pre-Isaac's behavior. Translation. I want you to look at Abraham's behavior after Isaac was born versus his behavior before Isaac was born. Let's go. Let's read verses 1 and 2.
Now it came to pass after these things that God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Take now your son.
Which one?
Your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah.
And do what?
And offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you.
Isaac is the son of promise. He's the product of a promise that God made to Abraham when he was 75 years for 20, good God from Zion, just the thought of that. Abraham waited for 25 years for the fulfillment of a God-ordained promise. Man, hit yourself and tell yourself quickly, I'm not out of season yet. So all the hopes of having a multitude of descendants as God has promised him was now resting on the shoulders of Isaac. Abraham was of the view that Isaac would grow up, get married, have his own children, and that would begin the process. And now Isaac, their son, their precious son, was their great hope to the future. Then in verse 2, God asks Abram, now take your son, take the promise, and carry him to a land of Moriah. I want you to offer him up as a burnt sacrifice. Abram didn't understand it. It didn't make sense. But according to the next verse, Abraham obeyed. All right, I already waited 25 years. Now the boy is just getting out of his teens. Now you're asking me to go offer him up, go burn him up? But God, you told me I'm going to be the father of many nations, and this is supposed to come through Isaac. So now you're asking me to kill the seed? Yes. Bring me your first fruit. If you can't give me the first one I give you, you ain't qualified for the rest. That's the principle of the first fruit. That's what God is saying to Abram. All right, I know I promise you, you'll be father of many nations. Now you have the first one. Give me that one. If you can't give me back the first fruit, all you will have is a memory of the promise. The test of Abraham offering up his son Isaac as a sacrifice is unique because it involves a series of contradictions. If you just read chapter 22 casually, it just looked like God is doing something that is completely different from what he's been saying all along. Okay, let me see if I can help you. First of all, there's a theological contradiction here. God had promised way back in Genesis 12 that he would make a great nation out of Abraham, and it would come through the son Isaac that Sarah will bear. In Genesis 21, God fulfilled the 25-year-old promise, and now in Genesis 22, God is asking to sacrifice the promise. So it's a theological contradiction. But not only it's a theological contradiction, it's a biblical contradiction because, ladies and gentlemen, to offer up the son on the altar of sacrifice means to kill him. And that's murder. But it's God who said in the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. And in Genesis 9:6, he says, if any man kills another man, he by man shall be killed, for in the image of God made he man. Well, if God said that over here, how come he's saying kill Isaac over here? If you just look at this text casually, it'll look like a biblical contradiction. But not only is it a theological contradiction and a biblical contradiction, but it's an emotional contradiction. He said, I want you to give me your son, the one you love. Don't bring me anything you don't like. Don't treat me like people treat the Red Cross. They give them stuff to help others, but they only give them the thing they don't want anymore. God says, no. I want him. The one you waited 25 years for. I want Isaac. So this is an emotional contradiction because, Abram loved his son. And he has to deal with the thoughts of sacrificing his son, and it was killing him emotionally. But finally, it was a spiritual contradiction. It was a spiritual contradiction because God told him, not only do I want you to give me your son, watch God now. He says, but while you're offering him up as a sacrifice, I want you to worship me. Ladies and gentlemen, worship is not designed for your convenience. You don't praise and worship God today because this particular day you feel like worshiping. No. He wants your worship in the good times and in the bad times. He wants your worship when you're up and when you're down. God does not want to be treated like a faucet. You turn him on and turn him off, and you turn him on when you need help, and you turn him off shortly after he's blessed you. He said, I want you to worship me when you're down and out. I want you to worship me when you're hurt. I want you to worship me the same way when you're broke as you did when you got the blessing. What God told me to tell you all today is he gonna send some showers. Watch this now. But the showers ain't the fulfillment of the promise. The blessings that come in the next several weeks are just announcements that the baby is due. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. And what's going to happen here? Before God allows you to give birth, he put a ram in the bush. And the horn of the ram is caught up in something. And that ram can't move until you show up where he is. Are you still waiting for the fulfillment of a promise? Yeah, Bishop, I didn't give up on this. It's been 5 years now. What about 25 over here? Look at me. Look at me, everybody. If you can't see me, look at me in the monitors. God cannot lie. I want you to stand to your feet real quickly because as I was driving down this morning, it looked like it was gonna rain. And as I was pulling into Kennedy, just little sprouts started coming. And I had to put my wipers on. Anybody else had this experience? It wasn't really raining. It was what we call over here and right then my spirit was grabbed. God said, look at that. I'm just giving you a physical illustration of what I told you last night to tell them that'll happen in the flesh. God bless you so much, and thank you for tuning in to today's telecast. I do hope and pray you were blessed, encouraged, strengthened, inspired by the message today. Now be confident. Oh, it's been a blessing preaching the message, and I really hope and pray that we touched you somewhere today that will provoke you into going on to the next phase of your life. We've come to the end of the telecast today. Now I want you to remember, whatever else you do the rest of this week, indeed the rest of this year, please keep in mind that you've been anointed to walk in victory.
This holiday season, give a gift that strengthens your loved ones in all areas and level up their prayer lives. The Pattern of Prayer series by Bishop Neil Ellis is the perfect gift for $36. A praying believer is a powerful believer. A powerful believer is a productive believer. These books are the perfect gift for anyone you know. Book 1, Our Father, Hallowed Be Thy Name. Book 2, Thy Kingdom Come, Thy Will Be Done. Book 3, Give Us and Forgive Us. Book 4, Lead Us and Deliver Us. And Book 5, The Kingdom, the Power, the Glory, are all available in paperback, hardback, and Kindle at www.neilellisministries.com, amazon.com, Mount Tabor Church, 100% Bible Bookstore, and Logos Bookstore. Get your set today. Mount Tabor is ready to celebrate the holidays and finish the year strong. We have a lot lined up for this Christmas season, and we can't wait for you to join us at our Christmas Day service at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and our final Sunday service on December 26th at 7:15 a.m. and 9:15 a.m. And don't forget our New Year's Eve services. Come to one or all of them. 12 noon to 1 p.m., 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., or 10:30 p.m. to 12:15 a.m. Let's close the year being creative, confident, and courageous together. And on behalf of Bishop Neil and Lady Patrice Ellis, the entire leadership and membership of Mount Tabor Church, we extend to you a safe and happy holiday season.
Drugs can make it seem like you can't reach your dreams. But know that you've been made free and you're walking in victory.
Bishop Neil C. Ellis and the Mount Tabor Church family in Nassau, Bahamas wish to thank you for viewing the Walking in Victory broadcast and invite you to tune in next week to experience this powerful prophetic ministry. Should you wish to correspond with Bishop Ellis, please write him at P.O. Box N9705, Nassau, Bahamas, or email him at info@neilellisministries.com.
Walking in victory.